Chashtab, the trillionaire brothers who couldn't clean. James and Oliver were the richest brothers in the world. James was 20 years old, and Oliver was 10. They were trillionaires, living in a giant mansion filled with golden chandeliers, diamond floors, and robot butlers. But there was one tiny problem. They were absolutely useless. Since birth, they had never done a single chore. Their servants did everything for them: cooking, cleaning, even scratching their backs. James once asked a servant to chew his food for him. Oliver once demanded a servant to blink for him. The servants were tired. One day, they ran away. Now, for the first time in their spoiled lives, James and Oliver had to take care of themselves. Day 1, chaos begins. James and Oliver woke up and saw their mansion in ruins. Dishes were unwashed, trash was overflowing, and dust covered everything. James gasped, "Oliver, I think the house is broken." Oliver nodded. "Maybe we should buy a new one." James picked up his phone. "Hello, I'd like to buy a new mansion." The real estate agent hung up. Oliver's stomach growled. "I'm hungry," James grinned. "Let's cook." They went to the kitchen and looked at the stove. "How does this thing work?" James asked. Oliver shrugged. "I think it eats money." So they grabbed bundles of cash and threw them into the fire. The kitchen was soon filled with black smoke as the money turned to ash. "Ah! The stove is a monster!" Oliver screamed. They ran away, leaving the kitchen burning. Day 2, the cleaning disaster. Desperate for help, the brothers called Ibrahim. "Please teach us to clean," James begged. Ibrahim arrived at their mansion and nearly fainted. The place looked like a garbage volcano had exploded. Rotten food, broken glass, and piles of burned money were everywhere. "This is the dumbest mess I've ever seen," Ibrahim muttered. He handed them mops and buckets. "Start mopping the floor." James and Oliver nodded. They were determined. James held the mop and said, "I shall now skateboard on this." He jumped on the mop and slid across the floor like a maniac. Crash! He slammed into the oven, covering himself in burned money ashes. Oliver tried to mop, but thought, mopping is boring. Let's have fun. So he belly flopped onto the floor, holding 2 mops like skis. Bounce! He bounced so hard that he broke the concrete. Ibrahim grabbed his head. "Are you both stupid? Just mop the floor normally." The brothers finally started mopping correctly. For one glorious moment, it looked like Oliver was doing a great job. Ibrahim's eyes filled with hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could learn. Then Oliver got bored. Instead of finishing the job, he kicked the mop like a football. Whoosh! The mop flew through the air. Boink! It smashed into James's head. James fell over and started hallucinating. "I see a flying donkey," he whispered before collapsing. The mop then landed perfectly in the trash can. Oliver jumped in the air and shouted, "Goal!" Ibrahim stared at them for 5 seconds. Then he gave up. He walked out of the mansion and never looked back. James and Oliver blinked. "Well, that didn't work," James said. Oliver grinned. "Let's hire a new servant." And just like that, they learned absolutely nothing. Moral of the story: some people are just too rich and